How's everybody doing?
Doing great, great. Coach, I'm Brandon Hoeg. I'm with Rivals.com. Welcome home to Orlando.
Hey man, I appreciate it. Feels
Yeah,
good to
I
be
guess,
back.
can you kind of talk about, growing up in Orlando and kind of your perception of UCF during that time period? Were you a guy that maybe went to some camps over there? Were you recruited at all? What was kind of your perception of the program being an Orlando guy?
Well, first of all, I've always been a fan of UCF. Growing up in the area, being a hometown guy. I grew up on the west side of Orlando, the Pine Hills area. I actually went to some games when they played in the Citrus Bowl. So those are good old days. One of my close friends, Alex Haynes, he's a former player here. Went to Evans High School, and me and him are staying close. So I'm glad I get to represent his program. I always want to be a part of it. So I'm glad to be back here.
Welcome, Coach Trace Trelko, Sons of UCF. Take us behind the scenes a little bit. How did you get connected to Coach Malzahn? What was that call like when he reached out to you about a position?
Yeah. So in 2018, this is a crazy story. So 2018, me and my wife, we were GAs at Western Kentucky University, and there was an opportunity for me to get an analyst job at Auburn. And I went up there, and I guess I got a chance to meet T. Will, got a chance to meet Coach Malzahn, and hopefully I put a good impression on them. They gave me a chance to call back. They called me back here, and I actually thought I almost had the job at Auburn, but I was blessed to have a full-time job at Western Kentucky. So to take care of my family, I had the opportunity to take that full-time job at Western. So they called me back. I had an opportunity. It's crazy how the connection works, actually. Go out there, you meet those guys, and years later, they get a chance to go to UCF, and UCF is home. So it's crazy how that connection happened in 2018, and now it comes full circle. I get a chance to come home and work with these guys and work with a legendary coach and Coach Malzahn, and get to learn on the T wheel every day. And it's just honestly a great opportunity for me.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? This is Kyle Nash with the three-point conversion. First of all, great way to lead off with the fans mentioning the A-Train. I know that'll get some positive vibes out there for you for sure.
Yeah.
But with the fans in mind, not every fan is aware that sometimes defensive lines get specialized, like you guys are doing with this particular regime, with the beef and the tackles and the edge rush getting their separate love. So from your perspective, and if you can elaborate on the other guys, what advantage do you have in a more specialized approach in the coaching staff?
Man, well, to split the defensive line is phenomenal for the guys. Get more position specific drills, get more position specific game plan wise, because again, being on the edge and being inside are two different worlds. To be inside, you got to be able to take on the double teams. You got to be able to be stout and strong inside. Being able to create a pass rush from the interior, learning the depth of the pass rush in the pocket. Defensive end wise, you have to learn a different kind of pass rush, rushing the edges, being able to control the width of the pass rush pocket. So just being able to work with Coach Ingram. First of all, Coach Ingram's a great coach, and I can't wait to work with him and learn up under him. And us meshing together and bringing those two, I think we'll have a special unit. But it all starts with Coach T. Will and allowing us to let the dogs loose. So I already know he will.
Hi, Coach. Jonathan Alfano with NSM Today here. Gus Malzahn has said a couple times recently about how much he values high school coaches, and you spent your first couple years coaching at the high school level. What were some of the main things you learned during that time?
Yep. So right out of college, I became the co-defensive coordinator at my alma mater. I went to Ocoee High School. I worked for Del Salapa at the time, and worked with Chip Petrie. And what I've learned is I was put in a situation where I had to make sure I became a motivator, make sure I became an older figure. I can't say father figure because I wasn't that old at the time. I was probably 23 or 24, but just learning how to grow relationships and getting the guys to trust you, because at the end of the day, when guys trust you, they'll run through a brick wall for you. And that's kind of the approach that I take as a high school coach. Growing relationship with parents, sometimes they'll be mad at you, sometimes they'll love you based off of their son performances. So you know how to deal with those types of relationships. So I learned a lot on the high school level, and I actually loved it. So I kind of brought that to college with me as well.
Welcome, Kenny. It's Matt Rochelle from the Orlando Sentinel. You talked about Travis Williams and the impact of being defensive coordinator. What have you seen from him, and what makes him kind of that up-and-coming rising defensive coordinator that we've seen?
Energy. Okay, when I tell you he's the most energetic person in the building, I'm not lying to you. Okay, he brings it every day, and honestly, every time we're in the meeting or something, he makes sure every time you leave that you're motivated to do something. And his knowledge of the game is impeccable. You know, he wasn't one of the best linebackers at Auburn for no reason. His knowledge of the game, his energy that he brings, his knowledge of recruiting. I mean, he's bringing it to the whole staff. But he's honestly a great guy for me and for the rest of the staff to actually learn under, stay under, and continue to grow a relationship with him, because he's going to be something special. And I told him when I got the job, I said, man, we're going to make sure you become one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. All right, so and I told him I'm going to stick next to that, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we get that going. And I know he's ready to work with it, and I'm ready to help him out.
Coach Brandon Helwig again with Rivals.com. Obviously, recruiting is so important to Gus, and he used the phrase, you know, you guys are going to recruit like your hair is on fire. So as a guy from Orlando and knows the importance and knows about the talent in the area and in this state, how important is that going to be, especially for you? I don't know if they've ironed out who's going to have what territories or whatnot, but being an Orlando guy, how important is it to recruit the local area?
Man, it's so important, man. There's so many dogs in Orlando. Yeah, you don't really have to go too far without. If you go right up the street, there's guys right down the street that you can just go recruit, and they're right in our backyard. So if we put a fence around the state of Orlando, right? We call it the state of Orlando because we want to put a fence around it. Can't let the dogs out. Okay, we got to want them to stay within and come play for the home team, and let's make the home team a special place to be, which we will. Okay, and if they get out, they'll regret it. Okay, but we'll make sure they stay close to home. All right, and then we'll venture out in the rest of Florida. But Florida's a wonderful place to recruit. Best athletes in the country. I'm being biased because I'm from here, and I'm being biased because Orlando, but it's the truth. It's the best athletes in the country, I think.
Coach Jason Beatty with 24/7 Sports. You mentioned your opportunity previously at Auburn. Instead, you went to Western Kentucky. How did that time there impact you as a coach? What did you learn? And just talk about your time at Western Kentucky.
Yep. So Western Kentucky, I actually went to school at Western Kentucky. It's my alma mater. Had an opportunity to learn under 3 different head coaches, 2 different defensive coordinators. I was under 2 different systems. So not only did I have the time to, learn on all those guys, but I got a chance to learn 2 different systems, your 3 down front, your 4 down front, and also get a chance to learn and meet great people. There's a lot of great people at Western Kentucky, a lot of great coaches, and honestly, a lot of great players. What we do is, what we did up there, we recruited and grew the relationships that I do plan on continuing here at UCF. But we grew the relationships with those guys, and I can't probably mention his name, but I had a guy that was out of high school, didn't get all state one time, just to tell you guys about my relationships with the guys. I had a guy out of high school that I signed that didn't get all state, and he texted me. He was very upset about it, saying, Coach, they screwed me over. I didn't get all state, but I led the state in sacks and TFLs, and I called him immediately. I said, man, when we get here, you're going to be more than all state. You'll be an All-American at the end of the day. And that was his goal. He came here and said, I'm going to work my tail off for you, and we're going to make sure we do everything we can to make sure we become an All-American. And lo and behold, he put the work in, and he became an All-American. But that's all about the trust relationships. Because I tell the guys, man, once you set a goal, that becomes my goal. Okay, and that's the message that I'll tell my guys as well. We're going to set goals here. We're going to dream big, and we're going to go after it. So that's the little backstory of Western.
Hey, Coach, Kyle Nash again with a 3-point conversion. You coaches have been in the woodshed the past week and a half or so, getting ready for spring practice. And you've obviously met with some of the players too. What is it you would like to see happen, or do you hope to see happen when you step on that field for that first day of spring practice?
First day of spring practice. Well, we're going to keep it simple at first, because at the end of the day, we need to evaluate the players. Okay, we want to give everybody a clean slate. We don't care about, who started. Everybody has a clean slate, because, again, we want to be able to evaluate you and put you on there. We want to see guys flying around to the ball, have the put the ball down mentality, right? We'll put the ball anywhere in the parking lot and practice field, game, wherever we wanted to put the ball at. I want those guys to make sure we have that type of mentality. But again, it all starts with your coaches. I believe the coaches, the players are a direct reflection of the coach. You know, we bring that energy, our guys will bring that energy. But we expect the guys to hit the ground running. As soon as that ball is thrown, we're rolling. Okay, we want to be a fast defense. We want to be a fast defense, and that's what we're looking for here.
Coach Trey Strelko again, Sons of UCF. Last week, Coach Hand talked about exploring the local food scene in Central Florida.
Yeah.
You're a local guy. What are the must-go-to places that you're going to tell him and the new coaches that they must stop by?
Well, I love, as y'all can see, I do love my food places. Okay, so I'm going to take him. I'm going to take him, and I'm going to take my guy Kenny Ingram, my defensive end coach. We're going to go and taste the town. Okay. We're gonna go taste the town. First place I'm gonna take them is to Tibby's. It's in Altamont Springs. It's Tibby's. I see you clapping. It's Tibby's, New Orleans. It's one of my favorite restaurants. Every time I came down here to see my family, that's the first place I go. Before I even go see my mom, I go to Tibby's. All right, but that's definitely one of the spots. We're gonna go to Fish Bones. I'll take them to a couple of hole in the wall, barbecue spots that I got, on my side of town, and yeah, we're gonna get it in now. We're definitely gonna get it in.
All right, last question from Matt.
Kenny is Matt Rochelle again from the Orlando Sentinel. Along those lines a little bit, you put up a video the other day, you guys running around on scooters, riding around on campus. What was that like? And you talk about building relationships with the players, but you guys as a coaching staff are kind of new together in some ways. What's that like, building that relationship with your staff as well?
Let me tell you one thing about this staff. It's very seldom that you get a staff that bonds right away. And every single time we're in the defensive staff room, even the full staff. But we're in this specifically when we're in the defensive staff, we go on defensive field trips sometimes. Because again, we're still new to the area. They're still new to the area. So again, we got to get out on campus. We got to go see the student population. We got to go see different buildings. And it was actually Coach T. Will's idea. Let's get on these scooters, man. We've been tearing up these shoes lately here, trying to walk around, and this is a big campus, so my feet were hurting a little bit. So being on those scooters, man, it was a great time and great bonding experience. And I know it was a little dangerous with me having my phone on, but I think I'm athletic enough to make sure nothing happens.
All right, thanks everybody.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you, Coach.
Take care.
Have a good one.